Hey everyone, Jeff here for Demise of Time. It has been a while since I made a video, and I apologize about that, but just, you get busy with things, and you neglect doing the things you enjoy, and that's kind of what happened for a little bit. But I'm back with another review, and you see it on my wall, you hear it in the background, you know what this is, hopefully, and if you don't, find out what it is and buy it, because it's good. Foxtrot by Genesis. I love this album more than I can probably articulate. I mean, I love it so much I have it on my wall, obviously. I have it again on vinyl. I have a CD version, and that's what we're listening to right now, just because I don't have a record player up here. But it's really hard for me to explain how much I like this album, and part of it for me personally is just because this was really the record that did it for me in terms of turning me into just the music fanatic that I am today. Before this, I had really fallen in love with a few other albums, like Abbey Road by the Beatles, for example, and actually a lot of Beatles stuff. But after I heard this and Selling England by the Pound, I really just got into music. I wanted to hear more things, and it's just my horizons expanded. I began exploring more progressive styles of music, and that's kind of what has led me to where I am now. And, everyone has a few albums like that, if you're really into music, where it's like you heard this, and then that was kind of just, where it clicked, and then from there you began collecting and getting into music. So, this is one of those records for me, and it's really hard for me to do an objective review because of that. It's so hard to talk about something that you love as much as I like this without, having your rationale clouded by your own personal experience with it. But I'll do the best that I can. Anyway, Foxtrot by Genesis, released in 1972 on the Charisma label. I have 2 copies of this on vinyl, as I mentioned earlier. We've got the one that I just showed. This must be a repress, I think, because it's not the Mad Hatter label. It's just the pink Charisma label. So, I'm not actually sure. It says Buddha Records here, but it says, you can look, Buddha Records, but it says the famous Charisma label. So, I'm not entirely sure. But, actually, wait, no, never mind. This one says Buddha Records, too. But this is the Mad Hatter. I love the Mad Hatter. Don't have a whole lot of the famous Charisma labels, but I love these. So the record, the sleeve where this one's from is on my wall, but this is usually the one I listen to. I love watching the Mad Hatter spin. I know it's, whatever. But anyway, released in 1972, this is their 4th album, so the 4th Genesis record. Their first album obviously was more in the vein of moody blues, kind of psychedelic pop. Then they did Trespass, which is when they started diving into the progressive rock field. Nursery Crime is when Steve Hackett and Phil Collins jumped on board. And Foxtrot, to me, is where everything just completely came together. The previous 2 albums, Trespass and Nursery Crime, don't get me wrong, they are masterpieces too. And there aren't too many albums that I like more than those. But, sorry, I get distracted. Anyway, those 2 albums are great, but this one is really where they hit their stride, I think, just because the production on this is actually really good. Nursery Crime and Trespass, they were recorded on 8-track machines, so they sound kind of, they don't sound great. This album sounds great. Just the musicianship is tremendous across the board. You can really just feel, how great these people were at composing. Just this quintet of musicians. There weren't too many groups that could compose music as just innovative and thought-provoking and just damn fun and good to listen to. So, every track on here is a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. of course, you know, Supper's Ready, which is what we're listening to right now. 23-minute epic. It gets no better than Supper's Ready, in my opinion. There's a lot of other music I like a lot, but for me, Supper's Ready is the song to beat. And a few songs that come close, but it's always Supper's Ready. And then, you know, you also Watch with the Skies, Can Utility the Coastliners, Get 'Em Out by Friday, Horizons, which is that little Steve Hackett acoustic guitar bit, love that, and Timetable, which is a very, very cool, mildly ballady type track, I guess you could say, but love that. The Mellotron throughout this album, love Tony Banks with the Mellotron. Mike Rutherford, I'm pretty sure, uses some bass pedals here. Phil Collins just has his nice laid-back drumming. Peter Gabriel is just, you know, his extrovert vocal style, love him. And I already talked about Steve Hackett, but I'll talk about him again because you don't get very much better than Steve Hackett, in my opinion. Not the most flashy guitarist, for sure, but he knows how to write a melodic solo unlike anyone else. He has just a distinct style that, you know, you listen to a Steve Hackett solo and you're like, that's Steve Hackett. And it's the same sort of thing like you're talking about other great guitarists in progressive rock. Like, you know, you listen to David Gilmour, you can say, okay, that's a David Gilmour solo. Listen to Steve Howe, you can tell that's him. Steve Hackett, same thing. You always know it's Steve Hackett if you're listening to him. So anyway, that's the musicianship. I already mentioned the songwriting. It's just excellent. This is one of those albums it's very rare that I go a full month without hearing this album. There was a time where it was, you know, something I listened to once or twice every day for months and months and months. But now, you know, these days, you know, I have so much other music to listen to, but I always find myself coming back to Foxtrot. And it's just, it's one of those albums where every time I listen to it, I hear something like, ooh, I forgot that was there, I didn't even know that was there. It's just, the compositions are so detailed that you pick up on new things every single time. That is the mark of just a fantastic record, in my opinion. When you can listen to it and every single time just be blown away by something new. And I must have heard this hundreds of times, maybe 1,000, probably not 1,000, but hundreds of times. And I'm still just blown away by it. And there aren't too many albums I can say that about. And I can probably say that about the early Genesis records, some Pain of Salvation stuff, a few Dream Theater things, some Yes, maybe, Jethro Tull, some Marillion, Edge of Sanity, Opeth. But, you know, once you get out of my little elite spectrum there, I can't think of too many records where I can just listen to it as much as I've heard this and not grow tired of it. So anyway, this is a review that will probably be useless to a lot of people because most people have heard this, and if you were curious about my opinion of it, there's my opinion. But for anyone that's watching that does not know Foxtrot by Genesis, or even if you've heard it before but you've never actually purchased a copy or you've never really focused in on it, hopefully this review is for you, and you listen to it a little bit more. You might not like it as much as I do, and I get that. You know, I get recommendations all the time, and, you know, sometimes I like them as much as the other person, sometimes I don't. But this is one that every single music fan should have in their collection, especially if you're fond towards progressive rock of, you know, any variety. You like King Crimson, you like Yes, you probably like Genesis, but in case you haven't heard this, and you think that these guys, yeah, their early stuff is the same as Invisible Touch, you're not right. You're wrong. So, anyway, Foxtrot by Genesis, easy 5 out of 5 in my opinion. I would give this a 6 if I could, but a 6 out of 5, that doesn't really work. So, I'm going to stop rambling now. I've been rambling for 9 minutes. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Leave a comment. I love interacting with my new subscribers. Everyone that has subscribed to my channel, thank you very much, and I'll be back with another video. I should be going to the Princeton record store soon, so I'll get some good stuff. Alright, thanks for watching.